Welcome to another installment of the Evolution Exchange podcast. Today I'm joined by Whipple, Sovik, and Johanna to discuss the role of a Scrum Master. Before we delve deeper into the topic, let's start with some introductions. Sovik, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, sure. So, hi everyone. This is Sovik Chakraborty. I am working as a Scrum Master in TCS, currently based out of Stockholm. And I have been working mostly in the banking industry and have extensive experience in the Scaled Agile framework. So, yeah, that's my background. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. And Johanna?
So my name is Johanna Back-Valentin, and I'm a freelance consultant, working a lot with agile transformations in different forms, taking a role as agile coach, product owner, and currently on an assignment as a Scrum Master for a few teams.
Amazing. And finally, Vipul.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Vipul Surve. I'm a safe program consultant and I help customers with their agile transformation. Currently working as a Scrum Master for a well-known bank in Stockholm.
Amazing. Now that we have established a context for each of you, let's move on to the topic. You'll all have a question or statement on the role of a Scrum Master, and I'll work around the team, asking each of you to pose your question and the reasons behind it. Each of you will have the opportunity to give or take on the situation. Let's start with Johanna.
So I dig right into it. And my question would be, how should the Scrum Master, together with the product owner and the manager, contribute to the team's success without taking ownership of the product or the customer relationship, but helping to facilitate this work instead? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, I can go first. So yeah, I mean, other than the deliverables or other than that, I think one very key aspect for any Scrum Master is to take care of the team. So to make sure that the team has a safe environment that they work with, the team can trust each other. So creating that environment where people feel safe, people feels happy about the work that they're doing, that is very important, because to have a team that is happy at the end of the day makes all the difference. I mean, it should not happen that a team member is there and at the end of the day he feels that, okay, I don't like this sprint planning, I don't like this daily stand-up, it doesn't make any sense for me. So it is very important for the Scrum Master to make the team understand what is the essence of each and every ceremony that we have in Scrum or Agile. So it's not that just Scrum has told us that we have this ceremony and we are having it. There's a specific reason for having each of these ceremony. So it's very important not only for the Scrum Master but for the entire team and the organization to understand that. That is one part. And next part is to have a team where the each and every member, irrespective of their position, irrespective of their title, feels safe. They should they should not hesitate while sharing any of their opinions or inputs or anything. It can be a meeting, it can be the daily stand-up, it can be anywhere. Because unless you create that environment within the team, you won't have a team who is sharing the knowledge or who is expressing their views. So I think other than the product deliverables and the other deliverable aspect, these are some of the things that the Scrum Master should take care of.
Yeah, I really like that. And I just before this call actually saw a post on LinkedIn, like stop a manager saying, stop wasting our time coaching our agile teams, just make them deliver. And that's really summarizes the foundation of what I'm going here. Like all the things that you mentioned are about coaching our teams to make them feel happy and giving this great result, and not about like project management and following up and follow up on the delivery. Yeah, I think it's a good response. People, do you have any?
Absolutely, yeah. I agree to the points that Sovik mentioned, and very true. You touched more on most of the important points in your discussion. I would also like to add is something which I have learned from my experience is numbers motivate, whether it is the team or even whether it is the management. So if you can present your numbers, like how is the curve going, how are we progressing, it also helps the team motivate themselves. Okay, we are doing good, we are achieving our targets, or we are delivering value over time. I know it might sound overkill, but it's always good to have your numbers handy. Secondly, it's also important to celebrate success, no matter how small the achievement is, because in Scrum, we always talk about incremental deliveries. We don't want to have a big bang at the end. We want to have incremental, but that incremental delivery also implies that you need to celebrate it as and when it happens. So you motivate your team. I mean, that's the whole point of the fun of being a Scrum Master. You have the opportunity of motivating and getting the morale up for the entire team. And then, secondly, when we have retrospectives, we focus on the positive and negative aspects. We should make sure that the positive aspects continue. The team focuses on the positive aspects. Simultaneously, also, we work on the improvements. We should not let go of the improvements. Neither should we let go of the positive aspects. Both are equally important. Being involved, I mean, I can say as a Scrum Master, being involved in all the phases of the development, maybe it could be maybe ordering some firewall openings or putting an API into production. A Scrum Master should be present. It should not be a Scrum Master is outside of the team. It's a part of the team, and is included in all the discussions that the team is involved in. So the team feels very comfortable discussing their problems, or whether they want to discuss about solutions with the Scrum Master too, as Souvik mentioned earlier. So it creates a sense of a security for the team also. And then results in terms of success will definitely follow if we continue on this track. So that's my take on the topic.
I think that those were really interesting answers to the question that I had, actually. And I think that the ones that I know we will talk more about going forward will lead us back into this thought as well.
Yes. So, I mean, we always talk about, being a servant leader in the Scrum world. So my, question would be, why do you think that it is important for the Scrum Master to be a servant leader?
As you mentioned before, that focus on the improvements and to be honest and open about the shortcomings or the things we are not good at already within the team, that requires a lot of trust within the team. And I think to get that trust, we need to be a servant leader to get that from the team and to really facilitate and get these kind of improvements going. I think that is my short answer to that, really.
Very well said, Johanna. I mean, I have a similar analogy for this aspect. I use it in my discussions also. It's like, I feel a team is like 5 fingers. None of them are alike, but together they form a team, and that's what you need from your team members. So from my perspective as a servant leader, I would really like to find which of them is my go-to person, and which of them is good at what they're doing. Okay, some person is good at tests, some are good at development, some are good at problem solving, etc. So we need to find those niche skills that the team members have, and then try to place them in those areas where they can actually contribute and help them improve, and also give them a secure environment to even fail. Sometimes it's not bad to fail, but you should have a chance to fail, but fail early, so that people realize, okay, here is something which we can work on, and then help them work more on their strengths, simultaneously focusing on their weaknesses and help them improve on their weaknesses. So that's the whole point of a Scrum Master as a collaborative leader, is what I feel from my perspective. Like he or she should be a person that gels in the team very well, knows the team inside out, knows what is the team capable of doing, and then try to make the team better at what they are currently doing. So that's my take on it.
Thanks, Vipul. Yeah, I think you both, Vipul and Johanna, have said exactly what I also think of as a servant leader when we talk about Scrum Master being a servant leader. Just to complement what you both added, I see the Scrum Master role more of a person who is carrying water for the team. So you take care of the team's needs. So basically, whatever the team needs on a day-to-day basis, or maybe on a monthly basis, or on a project deliverable side, whatever is needed. So the Scrum Master takes care of those things. So it's not a typical, leader that we used to have in the waterfront model, where it was command and control, and they did not actually know what was going on in the ground level. So as people mentioned, that it's very important that to understand who is good at what and how we can bring the best out of each team member. So that only you can understand when you are working on the team at a ground level, and you know them inside out. So yeah, thanks for that.
Amazing. Getting some good examples out there as well. I like that 5 fingers, not identical as well. And moving on to Ripple, your sub question.
Yeah, I had a few sub questions in my sub question. It could be like, we in the agile world, there are a number of scenarios where Scrum Master you have been in. So I would like you to share some of your takeaways on few of these topics from your personal experiences. There could be shielding the team, promote effective ways of working, and finding innovative solutions to problems that the team has faced in the past, based on your prior experiences. If you could just add. Souvik, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I can start with shielding the team, because I think that is very important in today's fast-paced world where everyone wants their product as soon as possible. So I remember it was last year around October or November, there was a issue that had occurred in production, and it was impacting a huge number of customers for one of the bank. So obviously it was a lot of calls with the management, and a lot of people telling that it has to be done in 1 week or in 2-3 days. So the typical calls that happens. I went with the problem statement to my team, and we identified one couple of developer and tester who will be working on this particular fix, so to say. So the expectation from the management was that this has to be delivered in next 2 or 3 days, whatever the scenario is, because they don't. They did not want to understand what are the complexities, what are the challenges on the ground. So when I went with that statement to the team, they analyzed the problem. They told that, okay, we know the solution, what needs to be done, but this has to be tested properly. The development can be done in 1 or 2 days, but the testing cannot be done because there are multiple scenarios that we need to test, and we cannot go with a solution into production that might fail in some other scenarios. Maybe this problem will solve, but some other problem will come up if we go without thorough testing, and the testing will take some 3 to 4 days of time. It cannot be delivered in 1 week. It is a absolute no from our side. But if you force us to do that, we can do that, but that will be without any testing. So then I think one very key element, for when shielding the team comes is, the Scrum Master and the PO has to be aligned, because not in all the forums the Scrum Master is present. In some forums it is the PO who is representing the team. So both of them should speak on the same line. It should not happen the Scrum Master is saying something and the PO is saying something else in some other forum. So then I think what I did was that, I went with that problem statement to the PO. The PO was very, adjusting, and he wanted to listen to the solution and what are the challenges on the ground. So he understood the problem that the team is facing. So then we decided that we will stick to our plan, that we cannot deliver this in 2 days. We will take 1 week or 1.5 week of time, whatever is needed for the testing to be done, and then we will deliver a proper fix that will work, and where we have done all the functional and regression testing. So we had a bit of a tough meetings with the management where it was hard for us to convince them, because there were a lot of customer impact, but yeah, finally they agreed with that, and then we went ahead with the fix, and yeah, it was a successful one. So there was no issues after that. And I think when you are protecting the team in this manner, it also gives a sense of trust, or a safe environment it creates for the team as well, where they feel that, okay, the Scrum Master is doing this. He is going the extra mile to protect me or protect the team or protect our interests, so we should also do that. So I think that team bonding also happens once this kind of picture comes.
Yeah, very, very nice example. Joanna, you have something to add?
Yes, I think this is a really good example that you give. And I'm thinking that how important it is that the PO and the Scrum Master are aligned, as you say. And I think that what is important to be able to be aligned is that we are transparent and that we have this way of collaborating. And that leads us back to the previous question about the servant leader, because that is what is needed to create this environment, so that we can be honest. I have seen situations where the team might go back and say, yeah, we can do it in 1 day or 2 days or whatever it is. but really they can't, but they don't dare to say that they will not be able to. And that affects the whole business in the end. You think that you do a good thing by accepting this 1 or 2 day delivery, but in reality it hurts the business more. So I think this alignment is really, really key here.
Absolutely, and we are going back to the basic, and also the question of the servant leader, the collaborative leader, transparent leader, transparency in the team, in the ways of working, and yeah, shielding the team. I mean, that's very well said by both of you. Had very good comments here. What do you think about the second part? Promote effective ways of working. Joanna, would you like to start?
Yes, absolutely. I was thinking a bit more about like what effective ways of working are, but please correct me if I'm going in the wrong direction now. But what I was thinking about was it's easy to come from the outside and to look at how are we working here and saying, if you just do this instead, it would be more efficient. And like coming in as a teacher or advisor on this is the solution for your problem. And it might give some result quite quickly, but there will not be like the change will not remain. And I think that if you come in with the thought as a Scrum Master that you should leave this thought about making yourself look good. So you can't push anyone to work in an efficient way. They need to build it themselves. So I think that what I've learned is that you can't change. You need to build this environment that people can change. And then that will lead, it will take longer time, but it will lead to a more efficient ways of working that will remain over time, so that we do these improvements bit by bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Very well said, Joanna. Souvik, do you have something to add?
Yeah, no, I think it was very well said by Johanna. But just to add, a couple of more points from the other side of the picture, on effective ways of working. So if we look into, the way that the development team does their day-to-day activity. So if we are not talking about the technical aspect to it, we can also look at some other aspect, like how they can improve on the, let's say, the collaboration between the team and the business. So we have often faced scenarios where there are teams where they don't collaborate with the business so much. Maybe they had just collaborated maybe 2-3 weeks back. After that there was no communication with the business, and maybe some things have changed on the business side as well that the team was not aware of. So I think that I know Scrum promotes that a lot, that there should be a continuous collaboration between the team and the business, but it is not always that happens. So I think one effective way of working that the Scrum Master can implement is that a regular communication between the business and the team, so that both the parties are aligned. The business also knows what the team is doing, and the team also knows if there is a slight change in the requirement or if anything has changed down the line. So I think that is one aspect what the Scrum Master can look into. And the second part where I have seen a lot of teams doesn't follow that is that we have most of us uses Jira. So we have the user stories in Jira, but for the developers, they feel that it's a waste of time to add the comments in Jira or to add any whatever they are doing. Maybe they're doing a program change. For them, it's just a line of code. They're doing the changes. But what happens is, let's say after 1 year, the developer is not there. He has left the company, or an issue has happened in production. The developer is on leave. The other person doesn't know what he has done, and he will spend days of time just to look into what was done for that particular program change. And I mean, maybe that's just one line of change. He could have added the module name in the Jira comment, and others could have found it easily. I think that is something that, even though we promote a lot to add comments in Jira as you move forward with your stories, but that is something that people often feel that it's a waste of my time. But something that I mean, it's a balance between how much you want to add it in the Jira and how much you want to leave it out. So I think that is something the Scrum Master can also promote in an effective way of working. It will actually help the team in the future days.
Absolutely. And even Joanna has had mentioned the same point. I mean, I can relate the two scenarios here where you have to make the team aware as what is they themselves have to realize that this is something which is beneficial for them rather than someone else coming and telling them this is the way of doing it. It's better that you learn by doing, in a way. Joanna, you want to add something?
Yeah, and I was thinking about this. You mentioned the discussion between business and IT side, and I think that is such an important thing as a Scrum Master to put a focus on, and setting up like forums or stuff that is needed in a way that it is needed between the right people. So you can have these kind of discussions, getting everyone in the same room. That is the first step, but also making sure that they get something from their perspective. So like, what's in it for me? Because if I'm from the business side and I know that this will benefit me and my role, I will be more eager to participate. And then you are on your way to creating this effective ways of working.
Absolutely. Very well said, Joanna. One more example I can offer here, which you can relate to also, is Scrum teams often have a lot of ceremonies, a lot of meetings that they need to go to. And often it becomes like a start-stop for them between their work. So many a time we have received this kind of feedback, like, okay, too much of time in meetings. So what we have tried in our team is, maybe it works for others also, is that we have tried to combine few of our meetings together. So the retrospective and the sprint planning is together along with the demo. So it's like 1.5 hour we have booked for a 2-week sprint. And it works fine because then people are relaxed. They don't have enough of start-stop. They can contribute to the 2 meetings and then continue with their work during the 2 weeks period. So it's quite nice. And we tried it and it worked out fine. So we continue doing that. So yeah, that's one example of we trying to make it effective for them to realize like it's not the Scrum that is taking time or the meetings that are taking time. We just want to be better at what we're doing. Yeah. Joanna, you have something to add?
Yeah, I was just thinking about, I made a really silly mistake, or kind of a mistake, just a few days ago, where exactly what you said, we have all of these ceremonies, and I tried to map out like how are we really working and progressing within the sprint. And for the days where we had work that should be done, I added like, these are work days. And then I was like told by my colleague, and I realized like, yeah, of course, all of it is work.
Is work, yeah.
It's not like we have the meeting and then we do the work. The meeting should help us. And it was so self-explanatory, but still it makes this differentiation by adding like work days. It was so silly, but I think it's really important to realize that the ceremonies help us in progressing in our work. I think that was like, I knew it, of course, but it was so important to have it in writing in a good way as well. So how we communicate and talk about this meeting as well. So you don't feel like you're only wasting your time in meetings. They are contributing to your success of what you do.
Absolutely, and it takes courage to admit your mistakes. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's also one thing that we were discussing yesterday. It's like you need to be open to say that I did something wrong, and then try to give a solution, and then try to make it better, rather than just hiding your problems or mistakes. So very well said, Joanna. So, Vic, you have something to add?
Yes, I mean, you just reminded me when you spoke about, the too many meetings. So actually, the last PI, when we went into that, after that we had the PI retro. So this was one of the most voted outcome of the PI planning, is that people are, having too many meetings. People double booked, triple booked in their days, and they are not getting any time to do the actual work. So I think one thing that came out from that meeting is that from the discussion is that one thing is that we can club some of the meetings that we are already doing, like clubbing. We are doing that with the demo and the retro. So we are clubbing that. And the second part that we have done is so what happens is, let's say there are 30 people in a meeting. So not 30 people are actually needed in that meeting. Maybe only one person who is representing the team, or one developer is only needed in that meeting. So there's no point of inviting the entire team there. No one will gain anything from that. So we decided to cut down on that also, so that we don't have a meeting where 30-40 people are there, and then it's just with the first 5-10 minutes goes on in the intro, and then can you hear me? There is a Teams issue, so all those things. So yeah, And I think this having this too many meetings, I think this also increased with the hybrid way of working or remote working. This also increased a lot during the last 2-3 years.
Absolutely. Very well said. I mean, it has happened. I mean, previously discussion used to happen over coffee. Unfortunately, now they have to happen over Skype. And
Exactly.
it's like even if for a small discussion, I have to book a meeting with you or no, or so even if like I could just quickly go over to your desk and ask that question. So yeah, but that's unfortunately a drawback of this way of working. But yeah, what you said is right. Uh, yeah, I agree to your points, both of you. Very well said. Yeah, man. After that, I would like to say one small subtopic here is finding innovative solutions to problems which your team has faced in the past in some of your assignments. Who would like to go first? Souvik, maybe.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, but I can try. So when we're talking about innovative solutions, I would say that having a diverse team and having a team that is not afraid to be vocal in the meetings is very important, because you won't have any innovative solution, or you won't have any solution, where people are thinking outside the box, until and unless you have a team who is safe, who is feeling safe and who is vocal about their thoughts. Because it might be very silly, whatever the solution that they're suggesting, it might be very silly, but that might work out. But they won't say that unless they feel safe in the forum, that okay, I can speak out my mind in this forum, and people don't laugh at me, people don't joke if this solution does not work out. So I think it again goes back to the the previous topics that we discussed, that having the safe environment, having a trustful environment, and working on the ground with the team. I mean, these three things are absolutely necessary in order to have this kind of innovative solutions come, that can come out from your team itself. So yeah, I think yeah, it's all connected to the same area.
Absolutely. I mean, the team knows best. I mean, it also says in the Scrum Manifesto, like the team is the one where the knowledge workers are. So they are the ones that have the most information. So yeah, listen to your team members, try to see what they have for thoughts, and then try to work on them. Will lead to innovative solutions. Yeah, I agree. Joanna, you would like to add something more?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this because I sometimes struggle a bit with this. We get stuck in like the normal way of doing stuff when I'm in an assignment where I work like 100%. This is my focus. And then I looked back and at assignments where I've come in and like done just a workshop, like a more innovative workshop supporting the customers to achieve something more concrete, like one outcome out of this should be. And I've thought that maybe it's because I come in as an outsider, they can be more open to me. But now I started to think that maybe also I spend more time preparing for that because I'm not stuck in meetings the days before. So like we talked about before, we have a lot of meetings, but if I instead could spend time on setting a format and really work through that, I think that as a Scrum Master and facilitator, I could help the team to think in a different way and to use this diversity that we have in the team and all the different knowledge. But what is needed is really that we take a step back and create a forum or format that allows that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's like taking 2 steps back in order to have maybe 4 steps ahead in time. And it's at that point, it's good that you have a good retrospective. People have chance to speak their minds and see, okay, what could be a next step, and then trying that as a proof of concept, maybe for a couple of weeks, and then seeing how good or bad we are progressing or not progressing, and then taking the next step. I mean, that kind of promotes this innovation and innovative way of working. And one more thing is like people should have that buffer or time to think out of the box. If they are too busy in the sprint, so I don't think they have enough time to even observe what's happening beyond their team, what someone else is trying, or what maybe Spotify is trying, or who is trying what, and why are they doing it, why are they succeeding. So it's always good to have little time extra for these kind of activities, which can promote innovation. Yeah, what do you have to say, Joanna, Souvik, on something we'll add?
I just wanted to, add one thing, not on this topic, but in general. I mean, this is my perspective. So I feel that, sprint retro is, I mean, I would say the most difficult ceremony that, I face as a Scrum Master, and it is also the most effective if done correctly. So this is just my view. I just wanted to understand your views also. How do you handle the sprint retro, and have you faced any challenges? Because this is something that is definitely a very difficult ceremony in the Scrum. Yes,
Yeah, Joanna.
Johanna. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. It is a tricky one because if we want to continue to improve over time, we rely a lot on the retro. So it's a lot of built-in like expectations on what to achieve in the retro. And I think from my perspective, it's once again like taking the time to prepare and to be spending time also in the check-in so that we can talk about different things like what is your favorite ice cream, where do you want to travel, like fun kind of activities and check-in, so you get like more free up your brain, or how to say, and then you can come into this and everyone has like landed for this meeting and they can participate and bring more to the table. I think that is, but it requires more planning and prepping. But I see a big difference when I have time to do that and when I prioritize to do that at least.
I agree with you, Joanna. Very, very well said. I mean, it depends on which company allows which tools, but there are a lot of different tools available on the net, which you can try out with your team for different retrospectives. So it's basically designed in such a way that team brings out their questions, that brings out the problems that they really face. Even if they don't want to bring it out in a big forum, they can go and write anonymously on those stickers, and then based on the anonymity they have that security, like, okay, no one will penalize me for writing this particular thing, but they still have a chance of putting it up, and then the Scrum Master and the PO will help out to analyze that problem and see what is going wrong and then try to get a better result out of it. So yeah, the retrospective is tricky, but yeah, it can be a game changer.
I agree. I agree with both of you. Yeah, Johanna, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just came up with one thing more I think is important, and that is easy to forget. Because if you prepare more before the sessions, you are more eager to have it. Once again, from my perspective as a Scrum Master, I have created this amazing workshop format or retro format, so I want to run it. But things can happen kind of last minute. So we also need to be able to change, so that something might have happened in the morning or last afternoon, and we need to actually dig into that. So we also need to be able to change and see what is the real need. What is it that we need to focus on the retro and not just go with the plan.
Yes, very, very well said, Johanna. And I agree with both of you. I mean, it's a tricky one, definitely, but yeah, it can be a game changer if it can be done, properly. And yeah, it all comes down to, and giving the free space, thinking, just giving some sort of space to the team to think, and yeah, trying different sort of retro. And I think another effective way would have been, if this hybrid model did not happen, then sitting in a room or going out for a coffee or lunch, having that kind of face-to-face conversation, that is always much more easier to understand the team dynamics. You can just look at the other person and see how he is feeling on a general basis, not on the retro. I think, yeah, that is something that that is missing now, but yeah, that would have been extremely great.
Amazing. And thank you all for sharing different insights. And obviously, we've got some nice real life stories and some silly stories as well, which is nice to hear. So we'll leave it there. And this has been the Evolution Exchange podcast. I want to take this opportunity to thank Vipul, Sovik, and Johanna for providing their insights into the topic. And thank you for listening. If you would like to get involved in one of our upcoming podcasts, reach out to me on LinkedIn or by my email at luxy@evolution.nordics.com. See you next time.